This is Art Television.
Coming up, State of Business, sponsored by
QHD quality video streaming Samaga. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
IWS Aviation.
A very good evening and a warm welcome to State of Business on Art Television. I'm Mariam Vijayaratna. Let's have a look at the headlines first. Central banks takes new measures to ensure macroeconomic stability, CBSL officials say. Japan committed to strengthening bonds of friendship with Sri Lanka. Japan's ambassador to Sri Lanka reiterates. News in detail. Dr. Anil Pereira, Director of Economic Research at the Monetary Policy Review of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, yesterday announced new policy measures to ensure macroeconomic stability at the Monetary Policy Review press conference held this morning. Dr. Pereira stated that several indices show economic recovery, but added that while imports of intermediate goods are beneficial for economic activity, the import of consumer goods are above comfortable levels.
Accordingly, the first policy measure we consider is the increase in policy interest rate by 50 basis points. So with this increase of 50 basis points, the policy rates would be the standing deposit facility rate 5.5%, the standing lending facility rate 6.5%. Accordingly, the bank rate would be adjusted to 9.5%, and the statutory reserve ratio remains unchanged at 4%. We have also decided to implement the following measures. First, to distribute the financing of essential import bills for fuel purchases amongst the licensed banks in broad proportion to their foreign exchange inflows. Second, we also mandate all registered tourist establishments to accept foreign exchange only in respect of their services to non-resident persons. To pay an additional 8 rupee per dollar for workers' remittances, in addition to the incentive of $2 per US dollar offered under the incentive scheme on inward worker remittances. This scheme is extended until 30th April 2022. The central bank expects to bear the transaction costs borne by Sri Lankan migrant workers when remitting money to rupee accounts via formal channels to be reimbursed with effect from 1st of February 2022 through the payment of 1,000 rupee per transaction. We implement a measure to pay higher interest rate for both foreign currency and rupee denominated deposits of migrant workers when they are remitting money and also when they are converted into deposits.
Sri Lanka Customs on Wednesday received a state-of-the-art non-intrusive inspection system which is intended to facilitate faster customs clearance. Speaking at the event marking the official handing over of the system to Sri Lanka Customs, the Senior Vice President of Rapiscom Systems stated that it is on par with those currently in operation around the world.
One of the key components to making a successful team, a successful program of this scale, is to ensure there's good leadership that links every part of the organization together. And that's what the leadership here was able to do. Staff of Sri Lanka Customs, all the way up to the Ministry of Finance, DG Customs, all have the same common goal. And that's what has allowed this program to be successful. We are happy today to do a full handover of the site and the operation to DG Customs, with his unbelievable organization below him that supports. The staff was very well trained, very receptive, and I'm happy to say today that the operation here is on par with best in class around the world. And I look forward in continuing our cooperation our successes together and ensuring we provide the best possible solution for non-intrusive inspection in Sri Lanka.
Joint Association of Leasing and Debt Installment Payers Secretary Asankaruwan Pothapitiya stated on Tuesday that small and medium enterprises are severely burned by the debt they have to pay recently. On the same day, the Joint Association handed over letters requesting a satisfactory solution to the issue without further delay as the business activity is being disrupted. Globally, SMEs accounts for the most productive part of any economy.
අපි අද සංගම් පහක් එකට එක්කව වෙලා ජනාධිපති ලේකම්වරයාටත් මහගමෑන්ගේ අධිපතිවරයාටත් මුදල් ඇමතිවරයාටත් ලිඛිත සංදේශ තුනක් බාර දුන්නා. හැබැයි අද අපි මේ ඉල්ලන අරගලය මේ රටේ සමස්ත මිලියන 8ක ජනතාව අද නායකන්දකින් බර වෙලා තිනවා. අද මේ රටේ ජනතාවට ව්‍යාපාරයක් කරගන්න විදියක් නැහැ. ඒ තරමට මේ ලීසින් සමාගම් ටික මේ රටේ ජනතාවගේ මේ මුදල් සූරං කරනවා.
We'll be right back after this short commercial break.
Alexa, get me some extra GB.
For the first time in Sri Lanka, manage your SLT Mobitel home services with an Alexa device or the app.
Connecting you with the latest tech.
SLT Mobitel, the connection.
These are dreamers. They made their big dreams real, using the same connected devices you and I are holding in our hands right now. So what is stopping you? No dream too big. SLT Mobitel.
Welcome back after the break. Japan's ambassador to Sri Lanka, Miskoshi Hideki, reiterated his commitment to further strengthen the bonds of friendship between Sri Lanka and Japan while expediting people-to-people exchange to explore the greater potentials that remain unleashed. This was revealed at a media briefing held in Colombo this Tuesday to mark the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and Japan. In commemoration of the 70th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations, the Foreign Ministry and Embassy of Japan jointly organized a media briefing at the Sasakawa Center on January 19th. At the media briefing, referring to a New Year's Day message by Japan's Foreign Minister Hayashi Yoshimasa, Japan's ambassador to Sri Lanka, Mizukoshi Hideki, gratefully remembered how Sri Lanka's President J.R. Jayawardena supported Japan during its post-war return to the international community. They also revealed a number of commemorative events and an action plan for the year. They are to be implemented with a number of local stakeholders.
Japan and Sri Lanka continue to stand by one another in time of need, while both fostering mutual trust and respect through the course of our long history. In a New Year's message commemorating the 70th anniversary of the establishment of our diplomatic relations, Mr. Hayashi Yoshimasa, Foreign Minister of Japan, stated as follows: Japan will always remember that the former President Jayawardena kindly offered support for Japan's post-war return to the international community, or that Sri Lanka extended warm assistance to Japan in the aftermath of the Great East Japan earthquake in 2011. Keeping this message of the Foreign Minister close in my mind, I am determined to further strengthen our bond of friendship while expediting people-to-people exchange to explore our greater potentials that remain.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Professor G.L. Piri stated that Japanese assistance to Sri Lanka always came when Sri Lanka was in need. Addressing the same media briefing, Professor Piris mentioned that in the last few years, the two sides have made considerable progress towards enhancing bilateral engagement in a number of areas. This includes political, economic, and people-to-people ties.
there is much to celebrate. Not simply the effluxion of 7 decades, but the range, the depth and the quality of the relationship. I would like to comment briefly on some of the basic features of this bilateral relationship, which appear to me of particular relevance and importance at this time. Soon after we gained independence, Japan emerged as Sri Lanka's most significant donor by far from the time of the Colombo Plan onwards. Major irrigation schemes, development schemes were launched with the generous assistance of the government of Japan. But Japan was always able to change the emphasis of their assistance, depending on rapidly changing national priorities and requirements. It was not static. Japan always made it a point to ask the recipient country what their needs were.
Foreign Minister Professor G.L. Peiris also stated that Japanese assistance to Sri Lanka was always tailor-made. He also added that Japanese assistance has no clauses, which leads to the receiving party being engulfed with numerous conditions.
And Japanese assistance was always consistently tailor-made to fit in with the requirements of this country. Now, this resulted in a significant shift in the emphasis and orientation of Japanese programs of assistance. Japan decided, with Sri Lanka's strong support, that the priority very much should be skills development. Our young people are human potential, to give them social mobility, gainful employment. The key, as Japan rightly perceived, is skills development. I have personal experience of this. When I served as Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Japan very generously assisted the establishment of the Institute of Computer Technology. So Japan is not a good weather friend. Japan is a tried and tested friend in all circumstances, easy as well as challenging.
We'll be right back with the stock updates.
But if she doesn't lay eggs, she'll have to go.
UHD quality video streaming. Internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
Alexa, get me some extra GB.
For the first time in Sri Lanka, manage your SLT Mobitel home services with an Alexa device or the app.
Connecting you with the latest tech.
SLT Mobitel, the connection.
Welcome back after the break. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on a positive note today. The all-share price index gained 10.44 points to close at 13,371.61 and the S&P SL 20 gained 7.49 points to close at 4,612.29. The turnover was 4.9 billion rupees and over 154 million shares were traded. Up next are Forex Rates. That's all we have for tonight. Have a great weekend. Good night.
State of Business was sponsored by
Multiple devices ekawara connect kala haki internet like a boss. SLT Mobitel Fiber.
IWS Aviation.